right, good morning everybody. We just hit the road. It's a beautiful 5:30 a.m. We've got about 600 miles to go today. We are headed up from mile 0 of the Alaska Highway that starts in Dawson Creek, British Columbia, all the way up to Watson Lake, Yukon Territory. So we'll basically be traveling the northwest length of British Columbia today and just crossing over into Watson Lake. The Alaskan Highway is a total of about 1,400 miles. It started out longer, but since it was built, which was, I believe, in 1942, since it was built earlier, they've rerouted some things, made it easier, obviously, with technology and being able to route the road a little bit straighter. It's just under 1,400 miles. There's actually a total of 14 notable cities along the way. Watson Lake is about halfway there, so on our stop today, on our drive today, which should take about 11-ish hours, and then that's drive time. So add another hour and a half for stops and gas and everything. We're going to hit up Taylor, Fort St. John, Fort Nelson, and then Watson Lake. So not a lot of cities in this first half, and most of them come in the second half. But anyways, here we go. So we are about an hour into our drive, but we passed through both Taylor and Fort St. John on the way in. There's supposed to be notable stops, I'm guessing just because in the original Alaska Highway, they would have been a place to stop. Taylor was a very small city, but it would be a good place. It's about 30 minutes outside of Dawson Creek, and there's definitely pullouts and RV campsites you can camp at. Not much in terms of amenities, but a lot of sort of more of the natural park area. And then, about 40 minutes outside of Dawson Creek is Fort St. John, and that is definitely a city. So they've got hotels, they've got a Hojo, a Super 8, a Best Western, and a lot of restaurants and gas stations, and a lot more to do. However, if you want to do an RV or campsite, just a little bit north of the city or just past the city center is Charlie Lake. And they had definitely RV and campsites around the lake, so that'd be a good place to stop. If you wanted to continue on past Dawson Creek and do camping, but also have a stop for amenities on the way. But anyways, between Fort St. John and Fort Nelson, it's about 225 miles. So that should be your last stop before you hit the road again, or you've got to commit before going all the way to Fort Nelson. So we are well on our way. Traffic is a little bit heavy, actually, with some big trucks this morning. So I haven't really been able to film much just because I don't want to film the back end of a semi. But anyways, we're continuing on our drive. So just a little bit of brief history of the route. It was built in 1942 at the height of World War II as an overland route to Alaska. And so there was definitely collaboration between the U.S. and Canadian government. It took them a while to figure out which location to choose for the southern terminus or where it would start, and ended up being in Dawson Creek, just because Dawson Creek being a big railroad hub there. The original route was over 1,500 miles long, but it only took the U.S. Army engineers 9 months to actually build. And if you think about technology during that time and the amount of troops it would have taken and the amount of engineers it would have taken. That was a lot. So it got finished in 9 months and was a total of 1,523 miles for the original route. So total there was 11,000 troops and 16,000 civilians that were involved in building this route. And it was considered one of those road construction feats that was unsurpassed in modern times. The original route was basically much roadways for fur traders, prospectors, anything you can think of that happened in the Northwest Territories of the time. Then a railroad was built nearby along the way, which is why a lot of the cities are either military bases, former military bases, or railroad towns that were on this route from the Northwest Territories all the way through to Alaska. Another known fact is that the H-bomb was known to travel these routes as well. But anyways, we're going to continue on our trek to Fort Nelson. Baby moose. You can see his little butt right there. There he goes. There's another moose running into the woods. The baby too. Alright, so we just passed through Fort Nelson. It's a small little town, but it does have gas, amenities, hotels, restaurants. So a pretty good stop after a long, over 200-mile drive from the last bigger city that you'll go through. Still en route to Watson Lake, and we've got about 6 hours to go, 317 miles, and there isn't really anything as far as notable communities along the way. So probably in an hour or so, we'll stop and eat some lunch, pending there's no swarms of mosquitoes, like at the rest stop or at the recent gas station. There's these huge flies. I don't even know what kind of flies they were, but as soon as I entered the gas station parking lot, they were swarming around my car. So I didn't want to get out because Remy hates flies. He gets scared and doesn't even want to move in the car. So, we got some bikers on the road, like real bicycle bikers. It said Florida to Alaska, so they've been on the road a while. Wow. Okay. Definitely would not do that. And from Fort St. John all the way to Fort Nelson, we've seen 2 moose. One was a baby and one was more like a teenager, which I got both on film, thankfully. I was able to get them. 1 black bear that was crossing the road, too fast to get him on film. And then 1 big owl. I don't know what type it was. Some guy was taking a picture of it, so I didn't stop to get a good look at it. But so that's some deer, which deer, again, not very exciting, but lots of moose so far. And so I hear this is a really big wildlife section, so continuing to keep an eye out for wildlife along the way. But continuing on the Alaska Highway. right, just checking in here. It's kind of the second part of our drive. We've got about 2 hours left till we get to Watson Lake. And I thought I was done with animal sightings for the day just because it was getting warmer outside. It's about 83 degrees right now. But I saw some, I think they're mountain goats. I said sheep, but pretty sure they were mountain goats. And then I saw a ton of bison coming through. And then I saw a little baby grizzly bear. So far today we've seen a ton of wildlife just on day one driving. And definitely worth it just to see a lot of wildlife I had not seen on the road before, even living in Colorado, just sort of hanging out on the roadside, munching on some grass. But anyways, about 2 hours to go till we get to Watson Lake. Okay, so we are at the downtown RV park in Watson Lake. Just thought it would be easier because we've got the plug-ins and it's still really hot outside. It started at like 50 degrees and now it's still at like 85 degrees. So we're gonna have a quick and easy dinner. We are making, I've got some cheddar cheese instant grits. I'm boiling some water now. And then I'm gonna add this applewood smoked flavored chicken. And then a little bit of crunchy fried onions on top. So should be quick and easy and delicious. All right, so the water has boiled. I set it off. Now I'm actually just gonna add the grits right to the pan so I only have one dish to wash. We're gonna need 2 packets tonight. Stir those up. All right, that looks nice and good and cheesy, thick. And then we're just gonna add the chicken. And some crunchy fried onions. Let's add more than that. There you go. All right, dinner in a bowl.